Alright, it's filming time. Hi everyone, Adam Steele here, and I've been sent a lot of stuff. Mostly for my Dolby Atmos rig, so I'm going to be doing an unboxing video today. Mostly thanks to Adam Hall, Gravity Stands, same brand really. And there's a bit more to go as well, so let's run the intro and then start opening some boxes. First thing that I need to unbox, I actually already took out of the box because I literally couldn't wait. This is the VC35 Copper Deluxe from Victory Amps, and I am really excited to have this in the studio. I'm going to be doing a video on it, but this is part of something I worked out with Victory Amps. You may have seen with Two Notes that there's now 80 different cabinets on the Two Notes store from Victory, and I made all of them right here. So that took a lot of work, and now I have a Copper Deluxe. So it came with all the usual goodies, manual, soft case, but it also came with two foot pedals because there's one for the tremolo and one for the reverb. Nope, one for the tremolo and reverb and one for the effects loop. I think that's the case anyway. I've not taken these bits out, but I'm going to leave them with the amp for now. And then I'm going to do a separate video on that amp when I get some time to really dig into it. Next thing I'm going to open is this little package. This is something that I bought for the studio because for the Atmos setup, I'm going to have a mixing PC here and a Mac at the back, which is a very old MacBook, but it's enough just to run the Dolby Atmos renderer. But it's a huge pain in the ass having two mice, two keyboards, and the old kind of wired stuff is very out of date. So I got an MX Keys combo for business, it says. I don't know what difference that makes, but I got this. And so it's a nice flat, heavy keyboard that's wireless, and there's a wrist rest, which is always important, save your aching wrists, and the MX Master, which is my absolute favourite mouse. That's why I already use one in Studio B. Seems a little lighter than the other one. It does say MX Master 3 for business. Might be clicking a little differently. But yeah, the reason that I got these really is that the pièce de résistance of this product, for me, is that it comes with a wireless dongle-y thing, but you can connect them to 3 different machines at the same time, either with the dongle-y thing or with Bluetooth. And the MacBook has Bluetooth inbuilt, but I also happen to have, it's in here somewhere, I happen to have a second dongle because I separately bought the keyboard and the mouse over time that I've been using in Studio B. So that means that I should be able to plug one of these into the Mac, one into the PC, and just switch by pressing a button on the keyboard, and then I can have a really nice clean setup with a single mouse and keyboard. And yeah, I really like clean setups. Currently I've got the mouse and keyboard for Atmos kind of tucked down the side. But if I'm going to be using that regularly, I don't want to have to be doing like the Matrix style hacker man kind of stuff. This comes with a extra box with pointlessness. Oh, there's a charging cable. That'll be useful. I'll have that out of the box. And the rest of this box can be yeeted into the sun. Or recycled. Next up, I'm going to be doing a video soon where I'm redoing my entire amp setup because originally the switcher and all the pedals were over in the corner over there, which is close to the wall where the speaker cables run. But I found out that by having long speaker cables that run past the streaming computer and back again for the effects loop, that was adding a lot of noise because there are power cables that run down there. Now, I worked out that if there were speaker cables running down there, they won't add noise because the voltage going down the speaker cable would be so much higher than anything around it that there wouldn't really be any interference. And so I can have short cables and have it all over there. But that meant buying new cables. These two I didn't buy. These are from Blackstar. These are new Blackstar cables, the professional instrument cables. And these are pretty snazzy. This one's out of its kind of case because I took it and played a show with it a couple of weeks ago. And it was a little bit stiff. It was more of a studio cable than a live cable. But it was solid and there was absolutely no noise on it. And then I've got the exact same one there, the 20 foot, so 6 meter. So these are going to be the longer instrument cables that will go to the furthest away head. 20 feet is probably a bit much, but that's, like I said, the furthest away ones, rather than it having to be like 30 foot, 40 foot cables, which were picking up a lot of noise. But after that is this box from Diadario. Now, this was not free. This is not even sponsored. This is me buying the cables that I need. But I thought you might want to all see what I got. That's a steel chrome-plated brass slide. I realised I didn't have a guitar slide in the studio. I don't know where mine went. I think it may have accidentally ended up in the bag of a musician at some point over the years. So I bought myself a new Diadario brass slide, which will go down the side of the screen there, to be pulled out on those kind of moments. So here we go, 10-foot cables. So these are speaker cables. So these 10-foot speaker cables will go from the amps to the switcher. So again, 10 feet is much more than I need for a couple of these because now the KG switch is going to be in that corner, but the longest one will reach up to where it needs to and no more. Luckily for me, we now have a cardboard recycling bin in the back. So, oh boy, I'm going to be using that this week. 10-foot instrument cables, much lighter than the speaker cables, which are thick. So these are the classic series. I didn't want to go absolutely crazy on the build because these are going to be going behind the amps and to the switches, so they're not going to be underfoot. They're not going to need lots of plastic shielding, where a lot of kind of tour grade stuff needs that physical protection. These just needed the electrical shielding. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the two from Blackstar makes it 12. So that's 4 amps, 4 effects sends, 4 effects returns, and the speaker cables for the 4 speakers back to the switcher. And then the cables that are on that chair, and I don't want to show you because it looks messy as all hell because I've ripped out a load of cables and there's just a big pile of what looks like kind of Medusa's hair crossed with spiders. There are 4 nice thick speaker cables that are quite long, which I'm going to repurpose. 2 of them hopefully will reach under the floor to become new connects for bass in that corner and solid state amp for reamping in that corner too. And then 2 of them I got these things. These will extend the speaker cables from over in that corner where they're literally just long enough to get there to the switcher. There are cheaper ones than this that you can get of kind of jack-to-jack extensions. Here's a cheaper one. These are like $2 on eBay and these are more like $17. But firstly, I think the ground on these is connected to the outside, where it isn't on these, and I definitely don't want the ground on the speaker cables being anywhere near outside world. And also, these are locking on both sides, which means that if anything gets tugged under while I'm working under a desk, I'm not suddenly going to get a 100 watt or 200 watt speaker cable disconnecting underneath there. So yeah, these really, really needed. So these are all going to go in the same box for now. You might be able to see, if you've got a keen eye, what the brand is from how it's labelled. These, and I'm only going to get one of them out, are Cali Audio IN5s. You'll see 5 of them behind me already. There's another 2 of these boxes off camera, and there's 2 more of these. So there's 6 here and 5 there, so it's 11 IN5 speakers. Because for a 1.4 Atmos setup, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, well, and the subwoofer's the 0.1, and 1, 2, 3, 4 at the back end. I know the 7 is the ones around me, the 4 is the ones above, and the 1 is the sub. So, I've not even started filming that video yet, but massive thanks to Cali for providing me with these, because oh my word. I mean, these are quite affordable. And then you times it by 11. You may have noticed I've switched to NS10 clones behind me, but that's a whole different story for an upcoming video that's already been filmed. But in that video, I do mention something which is currently under embargo, so that has to wait a little bit. So in there you'll have noticed there was a power cable as I pulled that out. That's a European cable because Cali have a European distributor, not a UK distributor. And let's pull this out. Because that meant that I had to buy 2 6-packs, so 12 UK to European plug adapters from Amazon. And behind the monitors here now is a separate 8-way power gang for the 5 sets of speakers, the Atmos Mac, and whatever that's going to plug into in the future. So let's get this out. It says, remove before use. I mean, the sound might be a little cardboardy if you don't. But yes, there we go. One IN5 with the tweeter embedded in the mid driver, so coaxial technically, and the bass driver separately. So it's kind of a 3-way. Yeah, absolute monster. And like I said, there's 5 of them there, 6 of them here. So I'm going to put this back in its box and get on with the rest of the unboxing, because otherwise I'd be here literally all night. Just to show you 6 of the same thing that you can already see there. Ah. This is where an Atmos rig starts to get real, in a way. Because yeah, having lots of speakers is one thing. Having a computer with the Atmos renderer is another thing. Then you've got to connect it all together. So, we're starting to get to the meat of it, because whatever interface I plug these into, I'm going to need to run enough cables round to reach them. So, there are lots of 8-way looms in here. Like this is 8-way TRS to male XLR, which splits 8 speakers out. And I think, from what I was thinking, 5 of those will just pretty much maybe need a short pigtail to go up to those speakers there. But then this one is XLR to XLR, which means that another one will run all the way round the back and probably have one breakout around here somewhere for the left side speaker, and then keep on going to the back, so there's going to be 4 at the back. There's another XLR extension-y one there. Another TRS one. And here we have a lot of single XLRs, which will extend out, like I said, where it kind of fans out into 8 cables. I'll have like a 3-foot one that goes to the lower speakers, and a 6-foot one that goes to the higher speakers, etc, etc. There's a whole load of those. So yeah, again, massive thanks to Adam Hall for sorting me out with a lot of that stuff. Oh, and yeah, like a 10 meter, so a 30-foot one singular, because I'm gonna have to run one round the back of the room for the right-hand side one, and then just have the speaker not in position with a position taped, and then move the speaker into position when I work with Atmos and have a long IEC cable and a long XLR cable. And so I can then bring that into position, work, and then if I need the space back, I can just lift that singular one and put it away. So I've got kind of my mixing area slightly offset from the center of the room. Now, here's the next thing. This is an in-ear monitor kit from LD Systems. Which model is this? This is, well, it's the U500. They usually say which number. It's U50 something. I think in Britain it's 508, but it's 655 to 679 megahertz transmission. For a long time, I was using a Shure, what used to be top of their range analog kit for in-ears, and I can't anymore because the frequencies on that are technically illegal. It was an old beast in its time, but it is now massively out of date. And so I've got a video coming with LD Systems, which is part of the Adam Hall and Gravity and all that kind of, all those brands. And videos with DCA Custom, which is a guy called Miles, who's a very cool guy, who goes round UK and who goes around the UK, come on English, and does 3D scans of people's ears and suggests the right in-ear monitors for you and can really help enlighten us all on what we should be using and why. And we're doing videos about how your hearing gets damaged if your in-ears aren't sealed properly or if one falls out, how long you've got until your ears are really damaged, how loud you're turning them up because the seal isn't right, so you might end up with hearing damage anyway, all that kind of stuff. But having the in-ears for me to go and do shows with and do field testing and do testing in the live room with a drum kit and me stood next to it with these in, that's going to be a massive plus. Another cool thing, the Whipper and the Trave. So this is a passive reamp box, and this is a passive DI box. And as I redo my guitar setup here, I'm going to be involving the Palmer stuff, which is also part of the Adam Hall brands, to have like reamplification always available. I already have reamp boxes, but I'm going to give this one a spin. They're almost always passive. I know that Radial do some that are active, but yeah, we'll see how this works out. It could be really good. And the passive DI might just be the answer when I'm recording with a real amp, but also a DI box in between. Because I want to see and do a video on, because usually the wisdom is active DI boxes with passive instruments and passive DI boxes with active instruments. But I wonder if a passive DI box would work well if there is a through line to a high impedance output, so the active circuitry is not required and might be actually causing tonal problems, maybe. Right, now. Studio monitor speaker stands with table clamps. So, hopefully I've got enough of these. How many are in here? 4 pieces, perfect. Because these are basically like the tops of the speaker stands that I've got here. Those are Gravities, by the way. Those I got from Gravity stands years ago now, and I've got 2 other sets of stands, and they just kind of, have gone by the wayside because those things are heavy and reliable. But for the back, for the Atmos, what I'm planning is to have 2 of these. If I can take the table clamp off and pop these on top of these, which I'll talk about in a minute, and then 2 of them, I'm going to find a way to pipe mount them in the middle. Then I've got stands with everything not having to be drilled into the walls, because we can't really drill into the walls here because of the way that it's floating ceilings, floating walls, floating everything. So yeah, they're seriously heavy, as is most of the Gravity stuff. This one place, I've always liked the Gravity stuff for that because they don't cheap out. I've got a Gravity guitar stand there, another guitar stand there, loads of their mic stands, none of which were sponsored. I bought all of them out. I could have had any choice. I didn't even go direct to Gravity. I went to the local retailer and bought them because I needed stuff, and they were a brand that I could get behind. Now let's look in here. Oh, glad I didn't go to the gym today because I'm getting it all in now. Oh, yeah, this is awesome. They definitely didn't have to do this, but they did. Because like I was just saying that I had spare stands for the sides, but I did say to them, if you've got stands to go at the sides, that would be amazing, but I'm not expecting. I mean, honestly, I'm not expecting any of this. I'm massively grateful to be sent anything, really. I mean, yes, now I'm going to have to reciprocate by having them positioned in every shot and talking about them and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, the weight of these is bonkers. These looks like they've got the vary tilt on the top, which these two don't. So what I might do is actually take these two stands that the SN10s, the NS10 clones are on, out, because those have got fixed straight platforms. I might put these in and put a 5-degree angle on, because even though those monitors are almost exactly at my head height, a 5-degree tilt would be absolutely perfect. Whereas the ones at the side I think I can have at the right level and they could be straight, so I'll just do a straight swap there. With these, the 3202s. Oh, they're so heavy. It's like it. I think they're actually heavier than my 5-year-old child. And finally, these. There's a delivery guy turned up at my house with this lot this morning with a pallet, and he was not best pleased. So, thank you, delivery guy. Okay, right, yes, so these are lighting stand. It says lighting stand, but these are also in their speaker stand category. With square steel base, and there's another one in here. But this, oh, it's absolutely massive. What dropped out there? A big bolt just dropped out. Wow. So, yeah, they call these lighting stands, but they can also be used as speaker stands, usually for like PA speakers, with a 35mm thunk on top, which is where I'm going to try and put one of those 4 stands right on top of there and have a speaker just mounted as high up as it will go at the back of the room, and then have the other Iron 5s I'm going to put a 90-degree clamp on here and have them mounted at head height at the back. But, and again, you can't see really on this camera, there's a sofa back there, and the only way to get stands there is that the traditional kind of tripod style feet would have been way too big and would have been an absolute no-go because they would have taken up so much space it would have got ridiculous fast. Now, this is what prompted this entire thing in the first place. Oh, these are the heaviest thing. They need to be the heaviest thing. It's like giving birth. So this is 2, and I'm going to pull out 1 because they are genuinely heavy. I'm not putting this on. Wait, it's on! I mean, they're also bulky, which makes it awkward. I'm landing that gently so it doesn't go on the brand new MX Keys keyboard. But large, heavy steel base for stability. You don't say. But yeah, come on. How do we get in here? These are actually strapped in. That's how heavy these are. They actually have to be weight strapped into their own box. It says box 2 of 2 because one box was the pole box. Oh, genuinely having to lift from my legs there. But this is exactly what I needed. And if Adam Hall and Gravity hadn't been able to supply me with these, I would have had to just buy them. Because these are the option. Oh, that's seriously heavy. But if I can show you that, there's a hole in the middle to put your speaker pole in. Or there's one at the edge, or there's one in the corner. And depending on how these... I think this bit is going to go under the sofa. And so then if they both go under the back feet of the sofa, then that's level. And that means that I can mount the speaker poles probably here, depending on where they go, but maybe on the edges. And that means that the pole itself can be almost flush with the back wall. I know that's not ideal to have the speakers that close to the back wall, but in that corner, that's the way it's going to have to be. In that corner, there is going to be free space behind it. But most importantly, the actual base of the stand being flat means that it's going to be like a big L shape and will fit quite nicely at the back of the room. When I get round to installation, you will see me doing that. You'll see a lot of footage. But for now... Oh, Jesus. For now, that is the end of the unboxing. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to be seriously out of breath getting all this together. But first, I have to pack the cameras and fly to Porto to do a super secret project. So, until I see you all very soon, massive thanks to Adam Hall for providing me with the stuff for the Atmos setup. Big thanks to Blackstar for sending the cables, Victory for sending me the VC35, and a big thanks to you guys at home for supporting me through Patreon and the Discord community and all that kind of stuff. It really does help to make stuff like this a reality. So thank you everybody, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.